Hello everybody, this is Robbie and welcome back to Neural Network November. And we're back with Botnik. Which, yeah, this is probably going to be the last time you actually see Botnik ever, because the website hasn't gotten any fucking updates, but there was this that I missed out on, because, I don't know, I wanted to see all the other stuff first, and now that I have seen all of the other stuff, figured, why not take a look at Botnik's second attempt at a Harry Potter story. This time a full Harry Potter story. So without further ado, let's read Chapter 1. And 2. Maybe 3. I don't know how far we're going to get into this. And if you like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified about my latest videos. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment about what you think of this, and be sure to share this video on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The First Year. Harry Potter knew that the only way to get a good night's sleep would be to spend it dreaming about his favorite person. But his dreams didn't stay that way. I mean, no. In truth, the only way for Harry to get the dreamy quality that he needed was to get very drunk. After all, drinking was only really useful if you knew that the other person was going to be able to see you when you opened your mouth. Okay. It's the night before the first day. He groaned at his reflection on the bed. His reflection was in the pale black robes, black glasses, gold rings, and thickly puffed black boots he was wearing. He sighed. Wait, what is he in actuality wearing? I don't know. He sighed and turned away from his bedroom to the wall where he had been sleeping for a few hours. It was as white as the wall behind him, and the only illumination was from the pale night sky overhead. No matter what I get drunk and do, I'm still going to dream about you, Harry thought. You know how it is with boys. You know, you could keep dreams the same way even when you're drunk. He smiled a little and got up to go find a bottle of whiskey. He turned the corner, stopped by the bathroom. What was I expecting from an AI? In front of the toilet stood a naked man in black robes. You okay? Oh! Harry felt an overwhelming urge to run away. Harry, do you remember what we said when we were arguing with the Weasley twins? Look at us. We're going to get married, and then you'll tell us to shove our face into a brick or something. Well, we were right. They did shove our face into bricks. But we won't shove our face into anything else. So we're going to be careful. God, I missed this. The man in black robes chuckled to himself. Harry stared at the man in the robe in disbelief. Headmaster, do you know where I'm going? Headmaster? What? You're going to the Great Hall of Hogwarts. You'll remember it, the headmaster said. I am so glad you're here. I have been looking forward to seeing you. Harry was surprised to see that the headmaster was wearing his normal robes, but he knew he was not the only one. He had seen the headmaster wearing his robes before, but he had never seen him in his usual attire. What? Harry wondered if the headmaster was the headmaster. Oh no, this is an imposter! The real headmaster is trapped somewhere! He wondered if he had been a little too friendly with the headmaster earlier. Excuse me, headmaster, but would you mind explaining how you ended up here? I am sorry, but I had to go get Harry Potter and the boy who fled. The headmaster replied. He looked very tired, but it did not matter. Harry was surprised to see that the headmaster had a boy in his arms, and the boy looked at him with his eyes wide open. What? Harry was... Nope. Please, headmaster, Harry said. I can't believe it. The headmaster looked at the boy in his arms and he looked very confused. Who are you? The headmaster asked. The young boy looked up at the headmaster, his green eyes bright and blue hair unruly. I'm a Gryffindor, remember? He replied. Yes, you're going to a Gryffindor camp. You're going to have a few adventures and maybe do a lot of fun, but first you have to find out what's inside Hogwarts, the headmaster grinned. Now off you go. The boy in gray robes disappeared. Harry thought to himself, what the hell is going on? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking to myself reading this story. Harry was still shaken up when the headmaster spoke again. Now then, yes, Harry, you are the boy who lived. I am sorry you will not be joining us in the afterlife. I am very sorry, Harry. Harry was very afraid. Okay? I am not a Death Eater, headmaster. I am a man who is trying to save people from their lives. What does that mean? I would never harm people, and I would never do what you are doing, Harry said. I know this is very difficult for you. Yeah, I'm gonna give him what the headmaster said, but I have to ask you something. Harry, do you know how to use magic? Harry's face was very red. He knew he wasn't supposed to answer this question, but he knew that he couldn't deny that he did. What? Couldn't deny the fact that he did? I am not a wizard, headmaster. I can neither fly nor do things. I am a human. The headmaster smiled. Well, we won't know until tomorrow. Oh, Harry looked really frightened. Harry took out a scroll from his robes and said, in short, can't do any of that shit unless you have magic training. I can't give you a wand either. Oh, I know, Harry, the headmaster laughed. It's just a little too dangerous to do that. Harry felt his chest tighten in embarrassment. The headmaster laughed again and again. And so began Harry's first year at Hogwarts and the year of him being killed. Spoilers! God, already telling me how it ends in the first chapter. Well, let's see what chapter 2 does. Okay, chapter 2. Harry, how to speak to Hermione. When the students arrived for lunch one day, it had already been a week since the headmaster had spoken to Harry, and he was still reeling from that first night. It's raining, Harry thought as he walked through the clearing with the last of the students, the ones who hadn't been killed yet, left to return to their dorms for the day. He felt the first of the raindrops in his face, and the thought came to him, I need to go see if any of them got wet. Yeah, and better go make sure they don't melt. From the rain, he was able to continue to the clearing when he saw a small figure walking down the path. A thin boy with the thin skin of a boy his age. Oh, hi there. Hey, Harry, the boy said. And Harry turned around to find Hermione standing next to him, trying to keep her cool as she watched the rain pour down upon the small boy. So, did you hear about the accident I had? She asked, looking over at the boy. No, I was just thinking about the weather again, Harry admitted, trying to be as upbeat as possible. I got my first kiss, and I got a few other injuries. Wait, his first kiss was an injury? What? What did you do to hurt yourself? Did you get punched or anything like that? Hermione asked, trying not to be too shocked or defensive. It probably felt like a breeze just coming out of nowhere. Yeah, I guess that's what a punch is like. Weird analogy, but... It's just, I'm not very good at kissing, so I didn't have as many opportunities with men as I thought I would have, Harry said, his face contorting slightly. That must be frightening, frustrating for you, Hermione said, still trying to keep an even tone of voice. I thought you were better with girls. You were really pretty with Draco. Okay. Harry blushed, trying to think of any reason why she might think that. He's so handsome, but I feel like I'm going to regret that one. Okay. I'll take that as a compliment. Hermione agreed, and she put her hand on the small boy's shoulder, which caused him to turn and look at her, before turning back to watch her. That's what looking at someone means. Hermione was surprised to see Harry smile, although she didn't recognize it as anything she was used to. She turned back to the boy, and his face lit up with excitement when he looked up to see his girlfriend standing there, looking down at him. "Oh, Harry, this is my new boyfriend. I hope you know him." She began sweetly. She put her hand on Harry's shoulder, and his heart stopped for a moment as Hermione's gaze focused into his eyes. It was so bright that he felt like he was looking into an abyss of light, and he was happy that she was able to do that. What? Okay. Just trying to read ahead a little to see if we ever get any information. Whoops. Harry was speechless, his mouth full of what sounded like candy. His eyes wide as he stared at her. Hermione was surprised when she saw Harry blushing. She looked down at her boyfriend in confusion, then sighed and pulled his hand from between her legs. "Well, I guess you'll have to get used to him, but I really like him. He's really sweet and funny and interesting," she explained softly, her voice almost inaudible to Harry. Her small boyfriend started laughing at the idea, causing her to laugh as well. "Oh, come on, Hermione. We have just begun to make our friendship something that we both love and we both need to spend more time with. Not only that, but you're my first girlfriend, and I need you to be the best girl that I've ever met. You'll do everything in your power to make sure that I don't regret having you over for a year. For having you for over a year." "Wait." Harry laughed nervously. Yeah, that's kind of how I am with girls. It's just kind of weird at the beginning," he said quickly. Hermione smiled at him, and when he looked up, she was gone. But Hermione's smile was still there in his thoughts, or was it just like floating in front of him without a pop? Hermione... It was one of those smiles where Harry's heart felt so heavy it was practically burning. Hermione's small boyfriend was now naked, and he was grinning. What the hell was all that about? "Why the hell are you naked? What?" he teased. Harry decided he had better leave. Besides, it was time to go back to class to talk to Ron and Professor Snape about his homework. He waved to the naked boy before him and then disappeared into the hall. Alright, on to chapter 3, I guess. He's got some talent, okay? He took another deep breath and looked around the potions classroom. The smell of potions made Harry smile, as did the sound of magic. It was something that was on the list of things that he needed to improve on in order to be useful to himself. Okay? And it was in the potions class that Harry found the first lesson of the year. Ron had been talking about how his mother was a wonderful cook, and he thought that it might be useful for him to learn a few of her recipes. Ron had even asked for Harry to join him in the kitchen. It would be fun to try to help him make something wonderful, homemade potluck. Harry didn't think that he would be able to help Ron, but there was nothing to be afraid of, except for a certain boy from the Great Hall. Wait, what? Okay. Ron, are you ready? Sure, Ron said, looking ready for a lesson in potions. "Let's try something simple then," Harry told Ron, "and make a simple but tasty pudding." "Sure," Ron grinned. "Let's make a cake," he added before they took out the ingredients. Did potions suddenly become cooking class? Okay. Ron put down the bowl of powdered sugar and the bowl of butter, and poured in 2 cups of the mixture, and then he was ready to go. Just then, Professor Snape was there, watching from a distance. "Ah, Mr. Potter, Harry Potter, Mr. Potter, come here, please," he said as he came out from behind the bench. "Can you tell me what is going on?" "Well, I'm sorry, but I can't. The story is weird." "Professor Snape?" he asked. "The man in black, Mr. Weasley, is standing in front of you," Snape said as he appeared behind them. "The man is here to take over your house." Harry has a house? I mean, maybe the Dursleys? I don't know what timeline this is. But, like, what? Harry watched him with the biggest hint of concern. "Well, sir, if that man wants to, he can leave. And if he does not, you can choose to stay or to go." What? If Ron wants to take over the house, he can leave. And if he does not, you can choose to stay or go. Stay where? Go where? What? "Very well then, Harry Potter," Snape said, turning around and walking up to Harry. "I wish to speak with you. If I find you wanting to leave the school, I will not let you go. What? Are you holding him hostage? What? Harry turned. Harry turned. But as soon as he spoke, Snape was back behind him, his arms around him, outstretched. What? Sir Snape? Sir Snape? What is he, a knight? Harry asked, trying to put the words together. I have nothing to tell you, Snape said, stepping back and taking out a small brown box. Okay. What the fuck does this box contain? Harry asked, bewildered. This, Snape said, handing Harry the box. The last piece of the puzzle. This is the thing that will bring peace to all of you, Harry. But why would you want to bring peace to all of us? Harry asked, aghast. Why would you want to turn us all into some kind of dark, evil entity? Wait, what? When did Snape ever want to turn anyone into dark entities? What? He put the box into his pockets, holding onto it for dear life. Snape pulled out another box. This one contained a small glass of wine. Gotta have that wine if you want to have that same dream, as he said before. Snape, okay, Harry took the wine and placed it in his mouth. Now, Snape said, and Harry saw the look on Snape's face and saw how angry his face was. When did this happen? I will need you to fill this box, Harry. Now. Harry took the small white box and filled it with water, filling it until the bottle of water was empty. Harry held the bottle up, and it fell out of his hand onto the floor. What? You're not a person, Harry, Snape said as Harry walked away and sat down, looking at the empty bottle of water lying on the floor. What? You aren't even a human being. No, Harry said, and then he turned to Snape and whispered, Why should I be? Why should anyone be? You're going to die, Snape said softly. You're going to die here, Harry. What the what? Oh, thank Merlin. Okay. Hey, Harry said, and then he put his head down and lay there. Ron Weasley smiled slightly. Well, if you're gonna die, you better get off your ass. Ron, Harry said quietly, we need to make sure no one else dies, okay? Not just me. I've already been here and done this before, Snape said as Harry sat up, eyes still closed. I'm going to make things pretty good. You don't have to do anything, Harry. Just sit there and pretend to be okay. What? Harry nodded, and he felt as if he were going to have a nervous breakdown. That was his first lesson, that he should just keep quiet and pretend to be okay. He had to do this. Wait, what? What? What even? Okay, chapter 4. Okay, Harry and Draco. Chapter 4. The next day, Harry was in the library, studying the first textbook he had bought. He wasn't really sure what it was about, but he was hoping to learn something he would never understand, and maybe help Draco find the secrets of his life. Where did this storyline come from? Harry knew he couldn't avoid Draco's presence for very long. Harry didn't remember how many times Draco had tried to kill him, but Harry felt like he had heard it 100 times every time that time. Okay? In his mind's eye, Harry watched the blonde's face contort as he held onto the knife that had pierced his leg. He had... well, okay? His chest heaved. Harry knew it was painful, that it could hurt, but he wanted to keep his promise? Harry kept looking down at the knife, and the blood was soaking Draco Malfoy's shirt. Where the fuck did any of this come from? What? Draco Malfoy's skin was like silk, Harry thought, and he wasn't wearing it. Why would you... what? He didn't care. That wasn't what mattered. He needed to be able to feel his blood again. He needed to feel Draco Malfoy because he couldn't bear to look at anything else. Potter, what are you doing? Draco demanded. Harry was startled from his reverie. His mouth dropped open and he realized that Draco had been watching him. He tried to look away, but he couldn't. Harry knew that this was wrong. What, Draco watching him? Harry looking at him? Which one is it? Draco Malfoy took a step forward and glared at Harry again. Why are you here, Potter? I told you to leave me alone. I told you to go back to my place and sleep, and all you did was scream and bite your lip, but I'm not going to leave you alone here. Draco's anger was burning. Okay, you don't have the right to be angry. Hey, with me, Harry said. You are a wizard, not a dog. Weird comparison. Draco's mouth dropped open. I am not going to hurt you. You are my friend. Draco Malfoy stared at him, eyes wide. Then he reached up, pulled at Harry's shirt, and tore it off. He stood up, glared at Harry again, and then pulled Harry's jeans off. Are you going to give up on me or what? You ripped clothes off. I'd be more weirded out than anything else. Harry looked up at Draco. Oh, who took Harry's hand. I'm not going to give up, Harry said. I'm going to make you my friend again. Okay? Draco laughed. Good. Then just come with me and we'll find a house and you can watch me as you used to. Wait, what? And after you watch me, you can come and talk to me, and I will teach you everything I know, and I will let you use your wand in all my classes, and you can do things you've always wanted to. You will not die in my house because no one will ever love you the way I have, not even your brother. On his other hand, you will not be alone. What was that speech? What? Harry's eyes widened and then he smiled. What is that? Draco asked, surprised. What, did you never see anyone smile before? It's my charm, Harry smiled, and Draco felt the weight of it lift. It's all that matters now, right? Draco grinned back. I hope so, he said. Just then, Hermione's small boyfriend stepped out of the shadows with a big smile on his face. Where? What? Hey, Harry, you know I need help with some homework, he said, waving his hand. Harry's eyes shot open. Oh, what homework? He asked, surprised, and Draco looked quite embarrassed for him. Potter, don't you know the little prince? He's the one who got into the war. He fought like an ace and he never lost a battle, and I swear on the cross of my life that he'll win the war too. He's been a real friend of mine. Draco nodded. Oh, Harry said, trying to remember what that meant. I've heard about him. He's created Quidditch and, Harry trailed off as if he'd gone through a very painful memory. The prince and Draco both looked at each other and looked at Harry, thinking about him in silence, and the prince was smiling. Don't worry, Harry. You know your friends. They're good people. That's what makes the difference. Harry nodded. I do, he admitted, but didn't want to answer anything. And now, Draco said, looking at his wand in his hand. And for the important homework. He pointed to a large book. This is the one on the history of magic, and here is a note that you were supposed to write on the same page. Draco started writing on the page and paused before adding a few final words. And this will be the last letter you will write, and your last piece of advice to you. Draco paused again, his voice still somewhat hushed and serious. And if you die, please don't forget these. If he dies, he won't be able to... What? Harry looked around the table and saw that the rest of the people around them were watching the prince in silence. All eyes were focused on Harry as he finished the first part of his homework and then looked back to Draco, who was watching him with a confused expression. Thank you, Draco, Harry said slowly. I'm sure you didn't expect to be doing this. I'm afraid I'm doing it all wrong. Draco shrugged. Just get used to it, he smiled, and Harry nodded. Draco reached into his pocket and pulled out a book called The Diabolical Plan. Not suspicious in the slightest. It's quite a comprehensive book, he smiled at Harry and handed it to him. Draco turned and looked over at the other group of students. These guys will do anything for you, Potter, Draco said softly. They will even sacrifice themselves for you, because they know that if they fail, that's all the world will know about you. You can choose to stay here and be the center of attention or just let them all die so that you will live forever. It all depends on you. Harry's heart dropped. He was in an unusual situation. I'm sorry, Harry Potter, Draco said softly and turned his attention back to the books. The little prince took a deep breath, then he slowly opened his book, taking note of the contents. You see, he began slowly, the reason why I'm so happy to see you is because I'm going to use your power to destroy the world. Your world? The only problem is that I'm going to get away with it because Harry Potter is too young for such a power. And I haven't even told you what that power is yet, so you just have to see it yourself. What to destroy the weird... What? What? Harry smiled. I'll see what I can do about that, he said quickly, hoping that this might be enough to quell the anger and confusion coming up in his heart. I need to go now. Thank you, Draco. It's good to see you again, Harry said as he left. The others watched him go with some annoyance, as they knew that he would probably return, so they just tried to ignore the fact that Harry was being so weird. Okay, I think we have time for one more chapter. Okay. Yeah, we have time for this. Okay, chapter 5. The game is on. The next day was the big Quidditch match, and Harry was at a loss for words to explain why it was called Quidditch. He tried to figure it out himself, and eventually the match started. There were no words, just the sounds out of the boys singing in the excitement. It made him feel like he was in a magic school. What other school has Quidditch? Of course this is a magic school. Yeah, I'm in Quidditch, Harry said. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try and beat Quidditch in the first round. As he and the team got ready, the Weasley twins arrived with a group of Aurors who all had their masks on. One of them had a broomstick sticking out of his hand and said, You know, I've never seen anyone get a broomstick out of a broom before. That would be an interesting sight to see. Yeah, it's just a broom, Harry said. The Aurors looked at each other in surprise, and one by one they turned to face Harry. You're right, one of the Aurors said. So, Harry said, looking out the window to make sure they were in the right place, why are you here? George smiled at Harry. Because you're here. Because you're Harry Potter. And Harry Potter is like the best. Also, added Fred, because we're investigating a crime you did not commit? Wait, what? What? George's eyebrows furrowed. I'm not sure who is behind this crime, but if you've been able to identify them before I was here, you'd probably be able to stop me from doing it now. Well, I'm in Quidditch, Harry said. Not a Quidditch coach, just a broomstick. A broomstick that is about to be broken or destroyed. Hey. The Aurors were shocked at the statement. Well then, Harry, I think I can tell you who it is, George said. The person who committed the unforgivable act of being a brat. What? A prat? Asked Harry, shocked. Are you saying someone's a prat? Like a person who eats the flesh, uses poison, steals from the dead? I don't think that's what prat means. What? Of course, but not just anyone who kills or causes harm to people. This person did it to the ministry itself, George said, taking another deep breath, which makes it treasonous and therefore an act of war. So if you could catch this person before you die, I would appreciate it. Do you understand? Of course, Harry said, but who is this person? Oh, George said, it could be anybody. Fred elaborated, we have evidence pointing to one person, a name you already know. Draco Malfoy. Wait, what? Well, I mean, then again, he did have a book titled The Diabolical Plan, so... Is this really that big of a surprise? Harry's head hurt again. He was very familiar with the Malfoy name. He knew Draco's name in his dreams, and in other ways as well. Are you certain it's Draco Malfoy, the one in the robes? What a narrowing statement, one in the robes. That narrows it down. That is right, George said. He is an employee of Lord Voldemort. He is part of the Dark Lord's plans, the mastermind behind many of the worst actions of the Dark Lord. And he is a very dangerous prat. I'm sorry, I just can't take it seriously when it's like prat. Like, I prefer using Harry Potter quite a bit to describe, like, childish things. So it's like, a very dangerous brat sounds weird. In a few days, we will arrest him for trial and possibly death, and the entire ministry is going to fall upon him. One question's asked. The only thing they won't do is let him off scot-free. Thank God. Harry was horrified. Oh my God, he said in disbelief. Are you fucking kidding me? George shook his head. It's not funny. It's not funny at all, Fred. Fred didn't... What? Fred shook his head as well. Before Harry could respond, Professor McGonagall stepped out of the shadows. Harry had forgotten about her, but it made him wonder what she would say. Good news, boys! She exclaimed. Quidditch isn't a very fun game, but it's all that we play, right? So we need you to stand up there and play it, and the Ministry can't stop you. Why would the Ministry stop people from playing a game? It's a kind of dangerous game, but it hasn't really gotten that out of hand. Harry felt guilty as if that was a clear threat. This was going to be embarrassing to the other players. This was probably going to be a whole lot of fun. Well, there you are, George said. You should go to Quidditch or something and show the Ministry what real courage is all about. Yeah, real courage. Playing a game with brooms and goals and basically the equivalent of flying soccer. Well, I really hope they don't try anything, Fred said, still smiling. Harry shrugged, though it had to be one of the biggest shrugs he'd ever given. It didn't really matter. It was Quidditch, and Harry was already one of the team. They couldn't stop him. Harry took his broomstick and flew away with Professor McGonagall. This was the big Quidditch match. The big one everyone was looking forward to, but not quite knowing what to expect. It had to be one of those ones where the referee is going to give a hand call and a certain player is going to get lucky and win, which was the sort of thing a team would just accept and forget about. And Harry wasn't just going to lose against some guy on a broomstick. He had a team. Harry knew how to handle this, and he knew how to win this. He was going to beat his opponents, win the Quidditch match, and make them miss Christmas too. 'Cause they haven't suffered enough, I guess. The moment the golden snitch was released, he took off into the sky in style, a gliding parabola in the wind. Isn't a parabola like a math equation? Like a graph thing? I don't know. I've never flown a broom this fast, Harry said when he realized his broom was gone, but he knew somehow that he still had it. Wait, what? Wait, his broom is gone, but it isn't? Okay, sure, whatever. Harry felt like a prodigy flying his broom up there in the air at an almost superhuman but when he stopped and thought about it, it had never been that amazing. Yeah, it's only flying a broom. Not that amazing. A bludger flew out of the ground just to his right and landed right in front of him. And then Harry looked around. He spotted a few Aurors, some Death Eaters, and a bunch of Ministry personnel, and he knew that at that very moment it was going to be a very tense moment for them all. Harry didn't want it to turn into a fight, though, because at that point, he was already getting the hang of the sport. Yeah, the potential for casualties, but nah, he was just starting to get the hang of it. He turned his attention back to the snitch and took another swig of his drink. Yeah, drinking, that's gonna help in Quidditch. The golden... A snitch flew through the air. Had been a ball of flame bouncing on the top of the Hogwarts Express as it flew up. Harry spotted the other team seeker, Draco Malfoy, looking at him with wide eyes. Malfoy, Harry said, there is the Quidditch match. You're going to score a touchdown if you hit the golden snitch, and you will go home with a large bag of candy. Draco Malfoy stared at the golden snitch for a moment, then nodded. I'll try, he said, but you know what I need from you? Harry brought his broom close to Draco Malfoy. Then without another word, Harry brought his legs out and swung into Draco Malfoy's arms. Harry fell into Draco Malfoy's embrace, his lips pressing hard on Draco's ear. That's a weird place to kiss someone. The moment he closed his eyes, Harry felt the golden snitch drop onto his lap. Harry let go of Draco Malfoy's arms, his legs fluttering into Draco's side as he was rocked by a huge wave of euphoria. Now that is magic, Harry thought to himself. He took a moment to relax, enjoying the feelings he had caused, then held up the golden snitch. Now, who scored the most points for Gryffindor? Draco Malfoy smiled and started laughing loudly. I scored the most points for Gryffindor. But, wait, you were on another team. What? Gryffindor won. Harry was feeling pretty good about himself in the match, which was good news since the day before he had lost. On the plus side, his team had won, and he had won something even greater. Draco Malfoy was going to be his best friend ever. You know, even though he was apparently behind, like, murder plots or something. But fuck it, relationship goals! His parents had done their best to raise Harry to be a good person, but their own lives had not given the two of them enough opportunities to see where that led him. As it turned out, he didn't really need to think about it very much. After all, the first step was always to have a good time. As Harry watched the crowd, he noticed a small boy walk past him. It was the little prince, and he looked like the Prince of Dragons, or even just a pretty baby boy. He seemed very happy, and he just kept laughing, which was kind of strange. Then Hermione came into view and said, Harry! Hello, Hermione, Harry replied. Why do you call me by my nickname? He asked. What? Why, to tell you the truth, you do know me already, don't you, Harry? Hermione laughed and pulled his arm toward her and smiled. She pressed her lips to his ear, whispering, I need to talk to you about some important things, Harry. Harry was surprised as she kept calling him Harry, and he wondered what was up with her calling him that. She hadn't been calling him by any of his normal names, like Lord of Potter, or Master of Death, or the Grim Reaper, but he guessed that she had just been curious as to who he was. Yeah, Lord Potter, Master of Death, Grim Reaper, all normal names for him. I'm glad to hear it, Hermione, he replied. She looked around at the crowd and the little guy, who seemed very happy and excited. Good, we'll talk tomorrow when you're not in the house, Hermione told him. Harry looked at her and saw that her eyes were dark and full of sadness. She looked so sad and disappointed. She turned her attention to the boy who was laughing hysterically. It looked like he wanted to scream, but his voice sounded normal, like he was having a really good day. I should go see what's wrong, Hermione mumbled, her eyes staring at the little guy, and her voice was full of regret and confusion. As she walked over to her boyfriend, Harry was struck by a thought. That boy might be a bit odd, he thought as he walked away from them. He would have to worry about all that weird stuff with Hermione, but he didn't really have to worry about it at this moment. Okay, well that's it for this video. This is a confusing story, and which I guess means I really want to see what happens next. So, see you next time for more Neural Network November. Bye-bye.